Hello everyone, my name is Marissa and I'm going to do a tutorial today for the Potomac Bead Company. And for today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make this bracelet that I'm calling my Snake Along bracelet, because I'll be using they are called the 3-hole S-shaped beads, which are these, and they kind of remind me of, they look a little bit snaky to me, so that's where I got the name from. So for this project, you will need, as I said, the 3-holed S-shaped beads. And for the one I'm going to make with you today, I'm going to be using the antique silver. Now, my bracelet is under 7 inches. And for mine, I made 5 units. And you will need 4 of your S-shaped beads per unit, but you will need, as I said, you will need 4. And I do have, the pack comes with 10. Mine has 20 because, every time I order, I just put them all in the same pack. But they do come with 10 per pack. So in order to make a bracelet, you will need more than 1 pack. So, and again, it depends on how many little units you're going to make. So for mine, I need 20. So I'm going to be using the silver. You will need you will need the cabs. The 2-hole cabs is 7 millimeter. On this one, I just use the regular smooth cabs. On the one I'm going to make with you today, I'm going to use the cratered cab. And these are also 7 millimeter. And the color I'm going to be using is the backlit petroleum. You will also need rondelles, 2x3, and I'm going to use the light peridot. And you will need 2 per unit. On your cabs, obviously, you will just need 1 per unit. You will need 11-ohs, 15-ohs, and 8-ohs. For my 15-ohs, I'm going to use 2 colors, but you don't have to. I like seed beads, so I try to use as many as I can per project. So I'm going to be using and they're all Miyuki, my 8-ohs, my 15-ohs, and my 11-ohs. My 15-ohs for today, I'm going to use the opaque Delphinia, I think it's called. It's this really pretty blue color. I'm also going to use the yellow gold. For my 8-ohs, as I said, they're Miyuki. I'm going to be using a silver Duracoat silver line dyed light yellow. For my 11-ohs, I'm just going to be using a galvanized silver. You will need a fastener of your choice. I'm going to be using a cut button, and in this color that goes with these. It's not as silvery as this one, but I'm going to use it anyway, just because I like it. You will also need, this is a 2-needle project, so you will need 2 needles, and you can use a size 10 or a size 12, but you should probably go with a 12 because we will be going through our 15-ohs, so that way you don't have any problem going through them. So get a 10 in case you have any problems, just have your size 12s ready. You will need some thread. I'm going to be using the Wildfire in white for today, 0.006, and I have 5 feet on my needles ready to go, already threaded. Tools, all I have is my flat nose pliers and something to cut your thread with. I'm going to be using the Ultra Thread Zap. So go ahead, get all your materials together, and then we will get started. Okay. So I have little piles of my beads, and well, I have everything except my rondelles because we're not going to use our rondelles until we do our second pass. And we're going to do first our little base, and then we will do a second pass, and then that's when we will put our rondelles. And I'm not going to start with my cut button or with my clasp. I'm just going to get straight into the bracelet. because that's how I did it when I first made it, and usually when I change something up, it doesn't go well. So I'm just gonna show you the way I learned it. So I got my 2 needles ready with about 5 feet of thread. On one needle, pick up an 8/0. Then pick up an S shape like this, and on your other needle, an S shape like that. I'm going to go ahead and bring this all down and then put it, whoops, and then put it together here and show you the way it should look. So this is what you should have. An S shape like this, an 8/0 in the middle, and then your other string coming out of this S-shaped bead. And make sure you have the same amount of thread on both sides. That way you don't run out on just one side. So this is what you should have. Here is your thread. Now, on each needle, pick up a 15/0, 3 15/0s I mean. So each needle, you should have 3 15/0s. Let them drop. Now, I'm going to go on this side first. I'm going to go through the middle hole. And then when I do that, and I want to hold on to my beads because I don't really want to mess up the amount of thread I have. Like, I don't want to end up with more on one side than the other. So I'm coming out here in the center, and I'm going to pick up a 15/0, an 11/0, and a 15/0. And then I'm going to go through this next S bead. I'm going to hold on to my beads. And that's what we have. And it looks really wonky right now, but that's okay. Now on this needle, I already have my 3 15/0s. I'm going to go up through this hole, and I'm going to go through the beads that I just put on, which are the 15, the 11, the 15, and I'm going to come out through my other S-shaped bead. So this is what I have now. And at this point, I'm going to hold on to both my needles. I'm going to go down my thread like this, and then just kind of make sure that, yes, I do. I still have the same amount of thread on each side. And you can tighten it, and there you go. So now we need to go through, we need to jump on over again and go through this hole here, which would be our third hole on our S shape. And once again, we're going to pick up 3 15/0s on each needle. And I'm going to do this one at a time again. I tried doing this with one needle, and it just did not sit well. It did not look good when I was done. The unit just, it didn't work. It could have been my tension. Maybe some of you could do it better than I did. I don't know. But, you know, try it. Try it if maybe it works for you. It didn't work for me, but you know, I'll use 2 needles. That's no problem. So now here is where on this bracelet I picked up a 15/0, my cab, and a 15/0, and I went out through this other hole here on this S shape. I'm not going to do that on this one. I'm just going to go pick up my cab because it looks kind of big, even though it says 7 millimeters. And I'm just going to put it in there. So I went in through my S, picked up my cab, and now I'm coming and went through this other S, and now I'm coming out. Put this down. I already have my 3 15/0s on this needle. I'm going to go up through this hole here. I'm going to go through my cab, and I'm going to come out of my other S shape, not catching any of those 15/0s on the other side, and I'm going to pull. So here is our cab. And you know, I think I'm going to just back out and I will put my 15-0s. I can see the thread and I didn't think I'd be able to. These look a lot bigger. So I'm just going to put my 15-0 because if I don't, this is really going to bother me. So just going to back out. Do that again. No problem. Okay, so I'm going to pick up, coming out of my S shapes on each needle a 15-0. I'm going to let them drop. I'm going to pick up my cab, but hey, I tried it, right? So now y'all know. And then I'm going to cross through my cab, through the same hole. And there we go. And now I got to go through on this side, I got to go through that 15-0 by the snake bead, the S shape, come out of the S shape, and then I'm going to do that on the other side. Coming out of my cab, I'm going to go through the 15, and well, this is the only time I'm going to do this, so I'll know for the next time. So here we go. Now I cannot see any thread. So I'm coming out here of my S shape. And now from here, we are going to, I'm sorry, I said at the beginning that we weren't going to put our rondelles. We are going to put our rondelles. Got a little mixed up about that. I apologize. So from here, we're going to pick up a 15-0, and I'm going to use my gold, a rondelle, and a 15-0. I'm going to let it drop. And then on my other side, on my other needle, I'm going to do the same thing. 15-0, rondelle, and 15-0. So each needle has a 15-0, a rondelle, and a 15-0, a 15-0, rondelle, and 15-0. Now we're going to pick up our next S shape. We're going to pick it up like this. So we're going to mirror what we did on this side. Now we're just going to do it again on that side. So I have my 15-0, my rondelle, my 15-0. And I'm going to do this one side at a time again. I'm going to go through this S shape like that. And then I'm going to pick up a 15-0, go through my cab, and I'm just holding it here. I'm going to pick up another 15-0 and go through my next S shape like this, like that. So I'm going to go in through here. And now I'm going to wait. Now I'm going to catch up with my other needle. I already have my rondelle with my 15-0s on each side. I'm going to go in through this S shape, through the 15-0, through the cab, through the 15-0 on the other side, and out of the S shape, making sure I don't catch the 15-0 that's there with that grouping. And I'm going to pull. Now, very important, on this project, you're going to want to pull tight every single time you do like a step like this. Just pull tight enough to where everything is sitting nice and pretty with no thread showing. If you pull it super tight, you're going to get like this. You don't want that. And anytime you feel you need to do that, do it, because you need to make sure that everything is nice and pretty with no thread showing but laying flat at the same time. So from here, we're coming out of our S shapes like this on each side. Pick up a 15-0 on each needle. 15-0, 15-0, 15-0. Let them drop. And again, I'm going to do this one at a time. On this side, I'm going to go down to my second hole, my middle hole here. And I'm going to pick up a 15-0, an 11-0, and a 15-0. And I'm going to go straight through to this S shape on this side. I'm going to put my needle down. And then on this side, I already have my 3 15-0s. And I'm going to go through the middle hole of the S shape. And I'm going to go through these 3 beads that I just added, this little grouping of the 2 15-0s with the 11-0 in the middle, going in through the S shape on the other side and coming out. And we have also decorated the outside of our snake bead with our 15-0s. Now we need to make our way to our last hole of these S shapes by picking up 3 15-0s on each needle, letting them drop, go through this hole here. I'm going to pull. I'm going to pick up my 8-0, because remember how we started with an 8-0 here, and we're finishing up this unit, so we need to pick up our 8-0. And here is where I'm just going to pick up my 8-0, and I'm not going to go through the S shape on the other side. I almost did, but don't do it. And then on this side, I put my needle down, that needle down. On this side, I have my 3 15-0s. I'm going to go through this S shape, and I'm going to go through this I'm going to have to do that one at a time. Picked up my S shape, and I'm going to go through this 8-0 in the opposite direction as the other needle did. So I'm crossing through it. So this is our first little unit, and remember what I said, if you need to press it down to keep it flat, do it. I had to do that several times with this one just to make sure that it stayed flat, and it did. And just remember not to pull super hard. If you do, just go back and flatten it. Okay? Just go back and flatten it. And by the time you're done, it will stay that way. So now here, I'm coming out of this 8-0. I'm going to pick up on each needle a 15-0, an 8-0, another 15-0. So on each needle, I have 15-0, 8-0, 15-0, 15-0, 8-0, 15-0. Let them drop. And I'm going to cross through another 8-0. And then once you cross through this, that is your little connecting unit. Now we're ready to start our next unit. So from here, we're going to do all of this all over again. So we will just go through this S shape like that, through this S shape like that, and then continue on doing the same thing on this next one. And then when you come out, do the same thing like you did here, crossing through the 8-0, putting a 15-0, 8-0, 15-0, crossing through the 8-0, and then starting again with your S-shaped beads. If you forgot how I did it, just go ahead and rewind the video and you will see how I did this unit. So go ahead and make as many as you think you're going to need for your wrist. As I said, I made 5 for mine, and it is just under 7 inches. So depending, you will probably need either 5, 6, or 7 of these little units. And your bracelet is not going to shrink on you. So just take into consideration, aside from the amount of units you're going to need, just also take into consideration what kind of clasp you're using. So go ahead and do the amount of these little units that you are going to need, and I will meet you back. Okay, I did all of my units, and just like in the other one, I made 5. So this is how it looks. And when you finish, go ahead and finish at one of these little connecting units where you have your 8/0s, your 4 8/0s with your 4 15/0s in between them. So end your bracelet like that. And you should cross at this last 8/0, and both of your threads should be coming out of it like this in opposite directions. So from here, I'm going to add my cut button. And this is where you add your clasp, whatever kind you're using. So I'm going to put on each needle 3 11/0s. And I'm going to use the silver, the galvanized silver. Let them drop. And with one needle, I'm going to pick up my cut button. And I am going to decorate the inside of my cut button. But I'm going to decorate it with a blue 15/0, a yellow 8/0, and a blue 15/0. Just because I like these together. And then I'm going to take that needle, go in through the other hole of my cut button, and I'm going to pull. And then I'm going to take my other needle with my 3 11/0s and go up this hole here of this cut button, go through the 15/0 that's right after it, and pull. And then I'm just going to take this needle, go through all of the beads that are in my cut button, and I haven't pulled tight yet, so everything is still fairly loose, so I can go through them with no problem. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to take my other needle, and I still have my other needle up over here, and it's still loose, so I can go through these. And now I am going to hold my cut button and then pull my threads so that I have everything nice and tight. And I just remembered I didn't press on this one, so I just kind of want to, there we go. So now what we want to do is go through all of that all over again. That way we put another thread in there. So go through all of these beads all over again. And I think I kind of tangled something here. Okay, go through all these beads all over again. You don't have to do it with both needles. I think I'm just going to do it with one. So, because I already have 2 threads, so I'm just going to take one needle. Coming out here on this side, I'm going to go through my 8/0, and I am going to have to tighten this little unit again, but that's no problem. I'm going to go through up these 11/0, up these, up into this 15/0. Got it. I'm going to go through the rest of these beads, and then down these beads. I didn't catch all my 11/0s, but that's fine. I'll catch them right now. And then down here, and you know what? I am going to have to go reinforce it with both. Oh, no, I'm not. So I'm coming out of my 11/0s like this after I put in my cut button. I don't know why, that just seemed to take a lot more effort this time, but that's okay. Okay, now from here, we're going to go down our bracelet. But I'm going to connect these 11/0s here to these little 15/0s here. So I'm going to pick up 2 11/0s on each needle. 2 11/0s. And I'm going to go through that 15-0 here. This 15-0, this 8-0, 15-0. Do the same thing on this side. Put in my two 15-0s on my needle. I'm going to go through this 15-0, 8-0, 15-0. And what I did, I went ahead and I grabbed another color of 15-0s because I'm going to use, I probably have a little bit too many 11-0s there. So I'm going to go ahead and go back and take one out. I originally did this part with 15-0s, so that's why it's not coming out right. So I'm going to go ahead and take out one 11-0, oh, and there it went. And now I'm going to go through this. When I had done this on my other bracelet, I used 15-0s, but I didn't want to use 15-0s for this one. So I was kind of guessing at it while I was showing you. And I thought it would work, but it looked kind of weird. So went ahead and took out one 11-0. And now I'm going to go through these. And there, that looks better. All right. Now I'm going to cross through this 8-0 here. And I'm going to come out here out of my, and I'm going to go in through these 15-0s on the side. Going through the first three. And I'm going to catch up with this one. Going to go through this middle 8-0 and through the 3-hole S shape. I'm going to do the same thing. Go through these three 15-0s here. That is right after this first hole of your 3-hole S shape. And I'm going to go through that. Now here we're going to be filling out our bracelet. See how you have a lot of these open spaces, a lot of these gaps. We're going to go ahead and fill those out. Okay, so after every three, and here I'm going to use my silver. I'm going to fill in with my silver color 15-0s. I was going to use my blue, but I have a lot of blue. So I'm going to fill in with my silver. So I'm coming out of these three on both sides. I'm going to pick up three 15-0. I'm sorry, not three. One 15-0. I was thinking of these three, so I put three. Pick up one 15-0. Go through these three here. After it, you're not going to be going in your S-shaped beads anymore, and you're not going to go in through your cab anymore. Just going to be on the outside, and the only beads you're going to be crossing through are your 8-0 beads. So coming out of these three now, I'm going to pick up another 15-0 and my silver. I'm going to go through this little grouping here of rondelle, 15-0, rondelle, 15-0. Going to pull. After that grouping, I'm going to pick up another 15-0, and I'm going to go through these first three right here, these first three. So just like how you always kept adding on the outside three 15-0s, and then you'd go in and then pick up another three, you're going to be picking up one and then going through the three, picking up another one and then going through the three. So I already added my 15-0s there. I'm going to come out of my S shape and go in through my, probably have to do this one at a time, that's fine, and then go in through your S shape. your S shape and out of your 8-0. Let's catch up on this side. Coming out here of my 3 here, picking up a silver 15-0, going in through these next 15-0s. And if you can't get all 3 at once, that's fine. I only was able to get through 1. Now I'm picking up the other 2. Now from here at this gap, I'm going to pick up 1 and then go through this grouping. Now if you're using seed beads that are bigger than these and it doesn't look very gappy, well then don't add them. You might just need to add 1. So that's how mine's looking. I don't know if I should continue adding both. I think I am going to add both. Okay, so I'm coming out of that grouping. I'm going to pick up 1 silver 15-0, go through these 3, and I did get all 3. Put that in there. Coming out of those 3, picking up 1 more silver, go through these 3 here, and I was only able to get 2, that's fine. Whoops. And just make sure you don't get your string tangled around your other 15-0s. And then from here, I'm going to go through my last 15-0 on the outside and in through the S shape and out of my 8-0 here. And why can't I come out of my 8-0? Whoops. Let's try this again. 15-0 through the S bead and now through this 8-0. Make sure I'm not caught. Okay. So this is our first little completed unit. Now from here, I've already crossed through this 8-0. I'm going to sew up through these beads here, my other 15-0s and my 8-0. I'm going to cross through this 8-0, come out, go through these 3, add a 15-0, go through the next 3, add a 15-0, go through this grouping here, a 15-0, rondelle 15-0, and then right after that, add an 15-0, go through these 3, 15-0, these 3, 15-0, and then again, and so forth. So once you do that, and I twisted my bracelet, once you do that, I will meet you here at the end and we will put our loop. Okay, so I finish adding in all of my little 15-0s here on the sides. Remember we crossed through this little 8-0 here, right? Went through these beads, crossed through this 8-0 here, came out of our S shape, went through 3 15-0s, added a 15-0, went to 3 15-0s, through 3 15-0s, added another 15-0, went through this little grouping of 15-0, rondelle 15-0, and so forth. So you should be coming out of your last 8-0 here on this side. And remember how we just started our project. So here we don't have this little component. So we got to do that over here on this side. So you should be exiting an 8-0 string like this on opposite directions. 15-0 on each needle, 8-0 on each needle, another 15-0 on each needle, and then another 8-0, and we got to cross through it. And once we do that, I am ready to make my loop for my cup button. So I made my little unit here. Now I'm going to take out some more 11-0s and I'm going to make my loop for my fabulous little cup button. And I realize the cup button isn't the exact same color of silver like the rest of my beads, but that's okay. It doesn't bother me. I like it. So I'm putting in, I don't know the count, I'm just going to put in enough seed beads to where I think it will go around my loop. And since I don't have a crystal on my loop, I don't have to worry about accommodating a crystal. So let's see. Maybe I should just add one more. And I'm just going to, well, I'm going to go in through this 8/0 here. I'm going to hold it tight, and then I'm just going to test my little cut button. And if it goes in, but you're having to, it's spreading your 11/0s apart to where your thread is showing, it's not going to fit. So I just need one more. And then I'm going to go through this 8/0 again. And then I will take my other needle and go through that as well. Now on the step before this, if you notice, you only had one string going through your beads that are bordering your little 3-hole S shape, and you only had one string going through these little connecting boxes as well. So what that last step did as well, when you added your 15/0s, is it put another string there. So it reinforced it. So that step also, served to reinforce your bracelet. So I'm coming out. I'm just going to stay there, and then I'm going to get my other needle, and I'm going to go through all of these again, and this will put 3 threads through my loop. And it's all loose right now, but that's okay. We will fix that. And then don't cross through that 8/0 again, because we're going to do the same thing that we did on this side when we just connected these beads with our little unit there. And I'm just going, like I did before, I'm just going to add 1 11/0 to each needle, and then I'm going to go through this 15/0, 8/0, 15/0. Same thing on this side. And when I did my other bracelet, and here I was just waving this thing around all over the place, so it got kind of, okay. And I'm just going to check on my loop one more time. I'm good. And now I'm coming out of these 15/0s here. I'm going to go through this 8/0 one more time with one thread so I can meet my threads, and then I'm going to tie a knot. And then again, when you tie your knot, just be careful, because I don't know, sometimes when you tie a knot on a bracelet, depending on the style of your bracelet, it'll throw off the shape if you tie it a little bit too tight. I mean, tie the knot tight, of course, but when you're pulling your threads, don't pull them. Don't yank on your threads super tight. Just, you want to pull them just right. Get your knot good and tight. Flatten everything again, and then tie another knot again. So and then one more time, and then I will burn my threads, and off camera I will dab some glue on there. And I think I had more than 5 feet of thread on my needle. the beginning of the video I said 5 feet, but I don't think I had 5 feet. I think I had a little bit more. So, and then just one more knot for good measure. And then I will burn this thread. Okay. Good. Okay. Just flatten it out and it will stay. Okay. This is our finished piece. I hope you like this project. This is my other one. I think this one is a bit smaller because it could be because of all the beads I added here when I attached my clasp. And I hope it fits because it is really cute, and I would really be sad if it didn't fit. It fits a little snug, but it fits. And it's really cute. I like these colors, and I like these crater cabs. These 2-hole cratered cabs. So I do like this brace. I do like these colors. I wasn't sure about the colors, but I ended up liking it after all. So here's what we got. This is our snake along bracelet. So I hope you enjoy making this, and thank you very much for watching.